Oh, you got the Spitfire sweatpants on too? Man, you go crazy.
It's light work, man. It's light work, man.
You go crazy for that. I'm not gonna cap
Thank you,
you.
man. You know what I'm saying? We just
I used to have Spitfire wheels when I was a kid when I skateboarded back in the day.
okay.
Those were the ones because they were the cheapest you can get
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Zoomies. So it's like
Okay.
Spitfire was the way to go.
All right. I'm a. I got checked on my Spitfire. Woman she was like, yo, you skate? I was like, man, that's good. I like you for even asking that question because we need to, you know what I'm saying? We need to keep a little parameter on these things, these cultural things. Because skate is a culture. As, you know, it's hip hop, and I had to break it down. I was like, I don't skate. I used to skate when I was young. It was real more practical. It wasn't. But I'm fully adjacent. MacArthur Skate Shop is my building. So, that's my that's my clique. So if I'm repping any skate, it's MacArthur Skate Shop. So I told her, she was like, all right, I was like, thanks for asking though. I like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look into those things.
No, facts. I feel like skating does play a huge role within hip hop as well. When I grew up in high school, when I grew up, my freshman year, the biggest thing I always watched was the Ice Cream Skate Team.
Oh, okay.
And Pharrell literally played his like unreleased beats throughout that first tape. And it's like literally just like and even he would have like skate like the landings go with the beat as well, like rolls of the wheels within the beats too. And man, yeah, Ice Cream Skate Team was, man, shout out to them. That was what I grew up like. I literally ran that video. I had it on DVD. I ran it back like so much that it wouldn't work on my DVD player no more.
Okay.
Like I still have it. It's funny, I still have it in my DVD case, but it just doesn't work. Like I need to buy a new one because
Hey, skate. That's hieroglyphics.
Yep.
They got a lot of love through them skate videotapes early in the
Facts.
days because that's how it circulated. So let's start the interview.
sorry, my fault.
We're just having full-on
it's good.
conversations already.
It's good.
All right, a lovely day for a conversation. At Lovely Day in Oakland, hosted by myself, Bar for Bar, and DJ Ambush of Drums and Ammo. We're still going. We still got a couple more to go, and this time around we got Benet.
Hi, I'm
building.
Benet. How's it going, everyone?
In the building.
At home, if you're watching, everyone in the room. Hi,
Fire.
how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Of course. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I had a beautiful day today. I woke up, went to the studio. One of my bandmates, the bassist, is working on an album called Atlantis right now. It's been in the working for 6 years, and right now we're just going through and just trying to figure out, what it needs through the mixes and crescendos going into the hook or going out of the verse, and it's just now just playing that, just the mixing game, just figuring out what fits and what doesn't.
Yeah, like the final touches and everything.
Exactly.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been a great Monday, a very chill, beautiful Monday, beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, it was actually pretty nice out today.
I would say it's a lovely day for a conversation. Got him on that one.
The last two we had were like on rainy days, so
You can still make it a sunny day with
It's nice inside.
Just pretend it was sunny at home, even though it was rainy here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Benet, you kind of alluded to it already, but who are you? What do you do?
Hi, I am Benet. I am an audio engineer, a producer, a director, an artist, a DJ. I try to wear as many hats as possible. I like to live by the motto of not being stuck in a box and, expressing yourself through art in multiple ways because, music isn't just the only platform you can express yourself through it. Directing is, a huge thing because as a kid, I grew up watching movies galore. I had tons of DVDs as a kid, Quentin Tarantino to, Spielberg to Wes Anderson. Like Wes Anderson plays a huge role in me nowadays, just like growing up watching like the Royal Tenenbaums and Steve Zissou, like just the way they're like shot in the music as well. Like they had a lot of cool French like music in those that I was inspired as a kid too, But yeah, I try to do as much as possible. I just love the entertainment industry as a whole, and it's played a big role as me growing up as a kid, and music to video games to cartoons to movies, and I just love it, and I finally I found a way to put that passion to work.
That's nice. No, that's great. That it sounds like everything kind of went in together, all mixed properly.
Yeah, literally everything is just playing a big role. Because I had went to college out here in Emeryville at a college called Expression, and coming out of it, I wanted to be a sound designer. Like it's still a big goal of mine to work at Pixar one day. Like I would love to do the sounds because I had watched in college how they made the sounds for like Wall-E and all those old films, and it just like it blew my mind. And then when I was able to practice it through college, it just like it gave me a feeling of just like, wow, I accomplished something so like sick. Like I made footsteps sound like somewhere that they were there when I just recorded them. I recorded my footsteps in the sound stage in the studio, you know, which was I was very lucky to have because Expression had these amazing studios. They had the SSL 6K, the 9K, the Neve, like these huge boards that you were just able to practice on, and tape as well, which is like
Crazy.
you know what I mean? Like I was able to learn how to use tape and how to go to tape and how to transfer it to Pro Tools and how to clean the tape heads and everything. And like I feel like that's not used anymore. And you know, I wouldn't say like, oh, every rapper needs to go to tape, but as a live band, like going to tape, it just gives you that extra sauce and saturation that you would, you know, that's why all these old great records sound the way they do because they went to tape, you know.
Like I'm all clapping. I'm
Thank you.
no, that's the real deal.
But,
That's crazy.
You know, I still love it. You know, I came out as a sound designer and I love music so much that I was like, how can I be around it anyway? And I got very lucky in college. I have two of my bandmates here, which I'm in a band called the Woadies. I had met two of them, David and Carter Boy, in college. Like I met Carter literally on the first day of orientation, and the first thing he said to me was like, "Who wants to make some hits?" Like that was the first thing he said to me. Like I was like, "All right, this is gonna be a homie for sure." And like honestly, he's a big reason of why I do what I do today because I learned from him. Like we would just have this class called BRP, Basic Recording Production. And the job was we'd have to set up a whole patch bay, a compressor, an EQ, the preamp, the whole system, and you'd have to patch it into the board and then just use it. And that was just like the whole thing. And Carter knew how to produce pretty well, and I knew samples because me being the bloggy kid and going on YouTube looking deep into Reddit, you know, the Reddit blogs. And there was one called Vintage Obscura that just had the crazy old soul, jazz, you know, French samples, and I would just give it to him and he would just chop it up and I would just rap over it, you know? Okay. And I was just because, you know, it was just for fun. Like I love doing it and we had the time to do it, so I was like, might as well I do it, you know? But yeah, like I feel like the people around me have really motivated me to be where I'm at today. So I wouldn't like be here if it wasn't for my Woadies, you know? They've definitely pushed me in a positive route.
Shout out to Woadies.
Shout out to the Woadies.
Shout out Expressions too. I went to Expressions.
Man, I
went to Expressions for Pro Tools. So I didn't do a full blown thing, but I went in there for Pro Tools. Literally, choop.
Man, I'm very sad they are no longer.
I know, it's
they were
crazy.
bought out by we got very lucky. We were there from 2014 to 2017.
So you caught
We literally got the last before SAE bought them out, and we got the great instructors. We had some really amazing instructors that had the experience. Because as we were leaving, they were asking for masters. They didn't care about experience. They were like, we need a master's degree. And in this industry, experience really matters more than the knowledge. Like knowledge is going to get you far, but it's the experience, being able to talk like you have been talking about, being able to talk to the artist, be able to be in the room and be like, dude, I like being around this guy. This guy's fun, you know?
Yes.
That's what, you know, is like the biggest thing, you know? And yeah, like I shout out to Expression.
What do you happen to know what's happening there now?
It's apartments now.
It's a part. Oh, so SAE didn't.
No, they didn't do nothing. They just disbanded. They ended up just.
And it's apartments.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
apartments
you killed
now.
the game. Oh.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because that was one of the first like colleges that. Sorry. Let me put,
You want some tissue? Want to grab some?
yeah, please.
Hold on, I got you.
Possible. This cold weather got my boogers coming out. Hey, peekaboo! I just put these boogers in my chain. Peekaboo. Any Kendrick out fans out there? That's for you. That one's for you. That's been our favorite bar lately. I just put them boogers in my chain.
People really
Peekaboo.
like Peekaboo specifically
Thank you.
too.
You better be cool. He ready to let everybody have it.
I'm actually a big fan of Luther and Dodger Blue, to tell you the truth. Like the slaps are great and all, but Luther and Dodger Blue, they
Just
just
the more
they make
soulful
me
tracks.
I just fly. Like it feels like flying. Like when that hook comes in, when SZA comes in, it just literally feels like you're in the sky and nothing can stop you. Anyways, sorry, Expression. You guys were amazing. I love you. You gave me a bachelor's in science. Like I have a bachelor's in science and sound arts. Like which is insane to say. Like I have.
For our little
Yeah.
expressions.
Like that's crazy to think that I like damn near am a scientist in the arts of sound, you know? Like so I really it really hurts my heart that it closed down because I feel like there's a lot of kids in the world that could use that need that place, that have like that were like me growing up that didn't know what to do. Like I didn't find out an expression. And so like I that's backstory, I was gonna be a sheriff, like out of high school. That was like I was gonna be either a baseball player or a sheriff.
Damn.
And baseball didn't work out just because of health issues that I had. And I ended up going to the academy, and then at the end they were like, "We need $1,000." I'm like, I ain't got that money, and no one wanted to help me out with it. And literally the next day, my brother was like, "Dude, you love music so much. I just heard on the radio this place called Expression. They're teaching about music. Why don't you check it out?"
Wow.
Looked into it. Literally the next week, went to orientation. Like it was like that. That's how I knew it was like meant to be. You know, it was like, you know, and I feel like for all the kids out there that have that interest in music and want to dive deeper into it, try to find that. Like YouTube University is the greatest thing. You know what I mean?
No
YouTube
doubt.
University will give you all the tools that you need. You know what I mean? Like literally from learning how to use Pro Tools to how to use Logic. You know what I mean? Because really, Pro Tools comes with the basic plugins that, you know what I mean? You can do a lot with those.
True indeed.
You don't have to have a bunch of fancy gear to make a good song. It's just literally knowing how to dial in what you're working with. You know what I mean?
Man.
But yeah.
Trying to told you. Right. Anyway.
You got to work with what you got. You don't need to go too crazy with it.
No, literally, yeah. It's, you know, I mean, if Kanye could do it, like literally with a SM58 in a arena, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can do it too with a, you know, SM7B. Like,
You could be like Kanye.
you could be like Kanye. Just learn how to mix on YouTube.
I guess from touching on like getting to the point where you got to Expression, like how much did I guess music inspired you the whole way, but like what sort of music did you listen to growing up that got you to kind of doing what you're doing now?
Ooh, this is a great question. There's a lot. I mean, it started honestly with Kanye and Pharrell. Like those were I remember the first album I bought with my own money was the Graduation album. Like I remember going to Target first of all, because Walmart had the clean versions.
Yep.
I went to Target and bought it with my own money because it was that was such a time. And then as far as Pharrell, I remember my dad had bought that album and he was like, "I don't like this. It's too like R&B." Bro, I was like, "Give me that shit. That's fine then. I'm taking this in my room. This is getting played back every day. Listen to Angel." You know what I mean? Listening to like Baby. Like there's so many hits on that in my mind. Like I love that, really inspired me so much. And then growing up, I was saying this earlier, I feel like I've been through the years of music. Like I remember going from the CD age, then going to the LimeWire age. I was downloading music off of LimeWire, listening to Cupcake No Feelings, and downloading all the E40 albums, you know what I mean? Mr. Fab. And then after that, I started getting into the blogging era where I started, like, what really molded me as a person was Tyler the Creator. And
That was an Odd Future chamber right there. That was the Mac Millers and the Odd Future and
I mean Schoolboy Q, Wiz Khalifa, like
that's some Wiz,
Kendrick too, like
Drake.
You know what I mean?
Big Crit.
As Drake, you know, Drake, as all the controversy goes on. I listened to a lot of Drake too. Like I bought Used to Let Freddie Gibbs, like. But Tyler, like 2011, when he really first dropped his first Bastard, my homie had showed me his music, had showed me VHS, and it blew my mind. VHS blew my mind because I was like, who's making stuff like this? Who is making music like this? Like, you know, and it was like a form of horrorcore, but still had them chords that, you know what I mean? Like the Pharrell beautiful chord, like he had it in a lot of those old songs. Tyler had them pads that built up things, you know? And
it's crazy not to cut you, but it's crazy like because now you can go back to it and be blown like, oh, that's crazy. I didn't even trip off of it. You thought it was just some psycho stuff,
Right.
But go back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, the influences are there.
Yeah.
Like now
He was
that you
playing
know
stuff.
it. Yeah.
I didn't know he was playing shit like that.
Yeah, that was all him, like, which is crazy to think about. And like even Domo Genesis, like that was one of the first albums I smoked a full blunt to and went for like a loop. And Tyler produced that whole album, by the way, on Rolling Papers, and it's one of my favorites still to this day. Like Rolling Papers is like still an amazing beat. Like I love it. But yeah, like all of Odd Future too. Like I wanted that. Like I was searching for that growing up. Like I want a group of guys that all make music and do these things. And I feel like that's really what inspired me. Even in college, I started we were a rap group called Midnight Society, and it was from Are You Afraid of the Dark? There was the kids that would sit around the campfire, and I took that because I thought that was the dopest thing. Like Midnight Society, we the midnight, we always up at midnight making music. You know what I mean? And that was like my first thing because I was like, man, I love Odd Future. I want to make my own Odd Future. I want to be in a group that we all are like this.
Throwing up and shit.
Literally.
Back then.
Man,
Hella
let me
artsy.
tell you, Rella
Wow,
was.
shit. Yeah.
I had went to all of his carnivals, like from the first one to like, and I was able to meet them personally. And this was before I made music too. So like talking to them and being able to meet them and how down to earth these guys were. Like even Tyler, like I talked to him for hours about Adventure Time in the store, like back in 2012, you know? And I feel like that in itself really pushed me to like want to make art and want to, you know, create and want to learn how things were made. Cause that's the biggest thing about music for me is like, how is this made? You know, people don't really, they hear it, but they don't think about it. You just hear it and you just, oh, I like this song. But you don't think about the process that goes behind it, all the work, all the artists that come in to produce it, all the producers, all the different writers, if they do have writers, you know, depending on a pop song, because pop songs these days, you know, they're written by 20 different people, you know.
Off top.
So it's very interesting. Like I just love it so much. Like music just has really moved me in a way that, you know, I feel like it hasn't really moved much others. So that's like those people really got me into making it, you know, and wanting to do it. And then, you know, I also had the side of like my rock side where it's like Tame Impala, Mac DeMarco, Faye Webster, you know, these artists as well have play a huge role in what I'm making today as well, you know, just now.
Flavor.
And you know, I kind of heard that I hear that a lot with a lot of my friends too. Like they were super into Odd Future, but they also are super into Mac DeMarco. Like there's a lot of parallels.
They correlate. They 100% correlate. If you watch Loiter Squad, like you would know, like he had Mac DeMarco in an episode. And I'm like, dude, it makes sense. Like that whole era of music was
Energies.
it was like all those guys are huge now. Like that whole era, all those people are you know, performing festivals, you know what I mean? Like if you look back, like it's crazy to say, even Gambino, like I remember when Gambino used to rap like this, you know what I mean? And he had those crazy bars, I'm not a rapper. Like that was one of my, like still to this day, I'll slap I'm not a rapper. Cause he really also, I'm sorry. Let me go on another tangent. Gambino is really what got me into indie music as well. Because on that first tape, he was rapping over Washed Out. He was rapping over Sleigh Bells. He was rapping over like stuff that people wouldn't normally rap over that was indie beats that were just like, I was just like, who produced this beat? And then it just turns out it's a loop like of the original song. And that's really what got me into finding indie music and like going and searching and like looking deeper into the art instead of just looking at it surface level. You know what I mean? Because that's the biggest thing about it, like you guys were talking about earlier, is there's engineers that should be and producers that should be raised up as well. Like Kenny Beats is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like, literally Kenny Beats is like one of the coolest producers that's doing it big right now. You know what I mean? And you know him, he's like becoming a household name in a sense, not like that, but you know, if you were like, hey, did you watch The Cave? I'm like, oh hell yeah. Which R.I.P. The Cave. I'm so sad it ended.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
But yeah, like I really feel like the artist that I listen to has made me the artist I am today for sure.
Okay, nice. And I mean, speaking of the artist you are today, what sort of music are you making? Because I mean, I don't know if anyone's kind of switched off and started listening to you in the meantime, but
Man, I love making whatever. I like being able to just have a gumbo. I like not just being like I said, not being put in a box. I like right now I enjoy making rock music mixed with with rap. I mean, I feel like at the heart of it all is hip hop and rap, because that's what really raised me, was hip hop and rap. So there's always going to have that influence in my music, but I don't know, there's just so much to make, and it's like, why not try, and there's a lot of artists that we work with as well as engineers where I tell them too as well, like, you hop on the same beat, why don't you just still be yourself on a different production type beat,
Yeah.
like literally just go to a different type beat, and it will literally, when you attack it that way and you go back to what your old stuff is, now you're going to find new formulations and new ways to flow on your regular stuff, because now you're
It's just
using
it goes back and forth.
exactly.
Straight up.
So I feel like that's what I like to do, is being able to just be free, like making what I want. At the end of the day, like, I make music for myself, if I don't like it, then who's going to like it, I feel like that's the biggest thing in art, is like, you should enjoy making what you're making, because that's the biggest thing is like, if you don't love it, who's gonna love it,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So anytime I make music these days is literally, it's what I'm feeling at that exact moment, especially when it comes to production. Like I'll make 3 beats in the day, and then one of the beats is the one that I end up hopping on, and then same with my woadies as well. They're also a big inspiration to me as well, like into what I make too, because they'll come with something like, yo, I'm inspired by this. Let's make something like this, and we make it, and that's like, I think that's the energy at its purest, is like having friends and other musicians that I could rely on that will come through and help me out.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
And as far as like my production too, like it's me and them. Like you're not gonna hear some other random person on a beat that on my beat. It's gonna be either me, or it's gonna be Carter, David on the keys, or Fur on the bass. Like even on this next record I'm about to release in a couple at the end of this month, Fur played the guitar and bass on the whole thing. And yeah, it's just it's definitely an honor and a blessing to be able to have like people in my life like that, and it kind of like proves to like they were meant to be there, we all met like so perfectly and at random moments. Like me and Carter didn't meet David because we failed a class, and because of failing that class he ended up catching up with our class, and now like he's one of us. Like it's a woadie for life, and yeah, that's the biggest thing.
What I like to say is just listening to the music we talked about a little bit earlier, just in the Bay Area, in this Bay Area, we bring it back.
Yep.
What you're bringing and what the woadies bring is a necessary flavor to the Bay Area, just the ecosystem musically. You know what I mean? Because
Thank you.
we stuck in rap, hip hop, but not even soul. Like we don't even get enough.
We don't even have
soul like we should.
We don't even
We
have
got
any like
real official vocalists out here.
Right.
So it's good to just get that flavor with the pop sensibility in it. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing too with me was I do have a very inspiration from pop music as well. So the schemes of pop music is very simple, but it's still very effective because it's ways that you get people to sing along. And instead of having a 24 bar verse, now it's like, oh, it's only an 8 bar verse, but I want more of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I wish there was more to that verse. Now they're replaying it. Now it has a replay value of wanting to run it back. I'm a big fan of the Tierra Whack, one of her first albums that she dropped. That was like minute songs. Yeah, like I love that. That was like such a cool idea because now when you listen to it, you're like, I gotta run that back one more time. Let me run that back one more time. And I'm all for long songs too. Like don't get me wrong, I grew up on 4-minute songs, 5-minute songs. And it's just like unfortunate how time has moved to where attention span has gone smaller. Yeah. But the thing is with that, it's gonna expand again. Like things always come and always go. Like Earl was just talking about how a lot of artists now are punch-in artists. They do punch-in bar by bar. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They don't write the whole verse. They just do it bar by bar. And that leaves a lot. It's not. You know what I mean? Us as OGs, we're like, man, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Same with me. I write all my bar. I write my. I will sit and write, and if I don't like it, I will rewrite it. You know what I mean? That's just me personally. but it also leaves a new world of how the art is made now, because now you're able to do these punches which you wouldn't normally be able to do within a full, like, just a full verse, you know. And I'm not fully against it. I'm not also the biggest fan of it, because, you know, we engineer it, so I have to deal with that a lot. But at the same time, I see the art within it, you know. There is like a way of the rhyme scheme now that's completely changing, because now you're punching in right before, you know what I mean, right before that next bar comes in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's true. But it messes up kind of when you perform it, though. It kind of
100. That's the
Yes.
literally that's the biggest thing for me too, as well, as like, how are you gonna perform this song?
Yeah, see.
You literally can't. You freestyled this whole verse. How are you gonna perform this? Like,
And I was
this
just talking to Abby Sounds about creating songs for shows. Like, I made this song
Yeah.
to perform, which I'm not sure if that's a thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
it 100% is. My
yeah, it
my
should
boy,
be a thing.
Should
my brother Fur right now, he's working on this album. They literally went into each way to, like, okay, let me perform this out loud, where my breaths are. Am I running out of breaths at this point in time? Let's change it then,
Change it.
because I'm going to be out of breath when I perform this,
'Cause
you
you're
know.
getting live up there. You know what I mean? You're not up
Exactly.
there sitting down. You're getting active.
Literally. And so that was like a whole nother route that I looked at. I was like, wow, that is a way cooler process of making your music now, because now you're thinking about, what can I do to do better when I perform live before the song's even out. You know what I mean? Now you're like thinking ahead, instead of just being like, okay, this is the song, that's it.
Well, it also kind of goes into actually being able to promote the song too. Then,
Yeah,
like, you know the song inside out,
Literally.
every way.
Literally, yeah. And as far as like marketing and shooting videos, now you have a whole idea of, like, with this album too, it's a very conceptual album, which I love. One of my last albums was Rock. It was a conceptual album. And that's like the biggest thing I want to do with my music as well in the future with albums, is mixing the world of like movies and music, you know, to where you're actually feeling like you're watching a movie but listening to it, you know, having those skits and still having a story behind it, where each song is showing the character development through what he's going through, you know.
That's huge, man. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that's the coolest thing with working with these guys, is like opening my eyes to these, you know, new routes of recording music and how it could be recorded. And when I do have future projects, when I work with other artists or I work on my own now, I could see like, okay, I could do this way, I could do it this way. I could, you know, set up the steps before I actually get to this point of releasing the album or music, you know?
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Like, there's so much to it, but like,
Science.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shoot, moving from that, at least the way that I came across you was through some of our friends. It was Grand National. How did that connection come across?
So this is a really funny story. So it really starts. Me and David used to work for this company called Verducci. It was an AV company, and we used to work a lot at the Oakland Museum. And Passwords used to work as one of the like the guys that put out the tables and just things around there. And you know, we knew each other from there. You would see us all the time, not knowing he was an artist. You know, and this is still around the time where we're engineers as well. You know, we just knew each other, and then years down the line, after everything, I see him. I have a studio in Soundwave Studios. It's called The Woe. We own it. We built it out ourselves. It took us a year. Me and my bandmates, it really took a full year to really grind down, and we did it ourselves. We built a booth, built a loft, built stairs, redid the floors. Like, we didn't hire anyone else. We ended up having first parents come through to help us put in the cabinets. They work in housing, so they ended up bringing cabinets from Texas and helping us out lay the framework for most of the stuff. But anyways, that's besides the point. One day I go use the bathroom and I hear an artist in one of the bigger rooms that has like a stage and a bar, and I peep in there and I see Alex. I see Passwords, and I'm like, Alex, bro, how you been? And he's like, man, how you been? I'm like, dude, I got a studio. I'm like, you got to come check it out. He's like, yeah, I'd love to. And then he ended up bringing, all the guys were there. Kevin, Deuce, Monty, they were all in the room practicing for a show coming up. So they ended up all coming in, checking out the room. They're like, wow, this place is amazing. And even smaller world, it turns out that their drummer at the time was neighbors to Carter Boy's parents. So they're like, hey, we need a spot to practice.
Damn.
Let's why don't we go cheaper? You guys can use our spot and practice in our room. So they practiced in our room for an event, and I would sit in the room. And one of the practices, they performed this song that's out now by Kevin. It's called "Death of Me," and I heard it, and I'm like, bro, this is the one. Like, this is one of them ones. I just like, it feels like it needs to be on the radio. So I asked Monty, I'm like, hey, what song was that? I heard you guys performing it, and then it kind of goes like, hey, don't let it be the death of me. He's like, oh yeah, Death of Me. We got that. Airdropped it to me right on the spot. So I went through and listened to it, and I'm like, God, this mix is terrible. It was a bad mix.
Damn, who mixed it?
And yeah, I don't want to say his name, but it's someone from the Grill Studio. It's someone from the Grill. Not gonna say the exact name, but they mixed this record and it was not good. Like, he just did not care. So one day they came into
Shots
practice.
fired.
They came into practice again, and I was like, hey, Monty, I don't mean to talk shit, but who mixed that record? Like, this is not good. And if possible, can I like mix it? Is it out yet? Like, I would love to mix it. And right away he was like, yeah, it's not out yet. Yeah, you can mix it. Like, here, take the files, please. And that right there is what started the friendship. Like, it just literally that one moment, like, for me wanting to mix this song. And
Man,
we
that's
ended up
such a
mixing,
great
me and Carter ended up mixing it, and they blown away. They were like literally just like out of the water. Like, this is amazing. I'm sorry, I forgot this too. Carter Boy actually mixed one of their early mixtapes at the Grill Studio too as well. So that's also another like foot in the door that we had with them. Like, just like not knowing who we are, but kind of like, oh yeah, we worked with Carter before. He's mixed us. So that was also like another stepping stone for the relationship to evolve. And then like honestly, just like moving forward, we just would work and work and work. And then I would show them my music. Like, that was like how the friendship that we have. We would just play music back and forth, you know. And one of the first songs I had was In a Box, and I had rapped on it. I had sent it to another artist, and he never replied. And then I had showed it to Monty one day, and he's like, "What's up with this verse?" And I was like, "You what?" Like, I was amazed because Monty is also another person I look up to because he was on one of the old I Am Sue albums back in the day. I think it was Kilt 3, the blue with the pink.
Okay.
And he was on there twice. And I would run that album back all the time. Like, that was one of my, like, back as a high schooler, I would
Was
listen
that the
to
one
that.
that had the Maria song on it?
Yeah.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
yeah, that was dope.
It was like the pink and blue, and he's like falling. Yeah. So it just being able to have him be like, let me hop on this, like, with me was just, I was just like, wow, this is like, this is meant to be, you know, like this collab between us and how we work together is just, it was like never forced. Like, it was never like, can you get on the song? He was just like, what's up? Can I hop on this? Like, I was like, damn, like that. All right.
Yeah.
And then,
Everything just kind of aligned properly.
yeah, literally. And then it's just like that whole little EP we did together was just like, it was just like a fever dream. Like, to tell you the truth, like I still to this day listen to it and I'm like, this happened? Like, this is like an honor, like, for me to be able to have like these 3 songs with him and in my style as well. You know, like in the morning is like such a like a Benet coded beat. Like, it's like guitar, live drums, and then as far as Letterman and Loafers, like that the vision for that song, I was like, I want to be Pharrell. I want him to be Jay-Z. Like, I want that. Like, so if you listen, that song is like literally like almost the same chords as Front. Like, it's in the same kind of pattern.
Okay.
But yeah, like that's, I mean, even with the Kevin album too as well, like he had came to us with like just an idea, and when we made Death of Me, it was just like one of those like soulful sounds. So he's like, this is how the whole album's got to be. So with that album, we did very like eras, like it's like 70s, 80s, 90s, or 60s too as well. With Answer Your Phone is like such a 60s doo-wop,
doo-wop.
doo-doo. You know, that was Carter Boy singing that too. Carter Boy's if you listen to that, that's Carter Boy in the orange jacket going doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. Swear to God.
Hey man, that's pretty good.
But yeah, that they definitely are an amazing group to be able to work with, and just being able to be on that level of like artistry, just like each and every one of them. Like, I still every day like am blown away that I get texts from Kevin Allen. You know what I mean? Like, to be able to get a text from Irk the Jerk is like, if you told my high school me this, like I would have been spazzing because like man, I used to turf to his music so much. Like, I was a big turfer in high school. Like, my freshman, sophomore year, I was in a dance crew. We were called the Sandbox Boys.
Oh shit.
So like that was like a big thing, was like was just dancing to Kevin and 40 and all them. Like it was just that was yeah. It's an honor to be able to work with those guys. They're all so talented. I have a lot of stuff in the works with them. Me and Passwords are working on an album that I produced and mixing as well. Brookfield Deuce just dropped an album that I mixed and mastered and helped produce some of the songs. Same with some of the Woadies. Kevin Allen, we did that whole album together. That was basically the band. Like we all put in a lot of hours on that album.
That was Don't Overthink It.
Yeah, Don't Overthink It. We all put in a lot. This late night, 4 a.m. I remember. There's a funny story I'll tell real quick. It was one of the nights David made "Split the Chicken" by Monty Draper, and then also David made "Groovy Kevin" and "Thing for You" that night. That's on the album.
Damn.
I was on tour at the time. I was on tour with Neff the Pharaoh and Scan of the Dark Lord. He was doing his tour for one of his album, and we were in Reno, and I Am Sue was doing like a Reno Christmas event, and we had backstage passes, and you know, we're enjoying the show, and then I ended up calling them to show them I'm at the club, like, look where we at, you know what I mean? And Monty's in there, and I literally, like, Neff takes the phone out of my hand, he's like, bro, it's Monty, and then runs over to I Am Sue, and then puts it in his face, and they're, like, talking with my phone. I'm like, hey, guys, hey, that's my phone.
It's like you guys have been best friends since elementary school. You could just call each other.
Yeah, literally, I'm like, they on my phone, like, they, like, exactly, but it's just, like, it's just funny how all the worlds have just been, like, we're just intermingling with everybody. It's just, like, it's just cool to be able to be a part of it, you know? And then at the same time, being able to make our own mark as a band and as me as an artist, at the same time being, you know, an engineer and producing and mixing these records, you know?
It's major. It's good. It's a good flavor, man. I appreciate just, you know, we talking about Kevin Allen. You know, I feel like the Bay Area still hasn't caught up to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, as far as one of the illest out here. You know, I'm not gonna go. We could do this. You could do a 30-minute, but he really is one of the ones that that's been constantly pushing his art and elevating and being more fearless. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So shout that guy out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Man, he's an amazing rapper.
and he
too.
helped. He definitely, on a whole nother note, him and Grand National pushed Drums and Ammo to point to where I was like, oh, this is something. It was through them that they really, in the very kind of in the beginning, they really helped me as far as pushing the art. I mean, the gear and stuff like that, and just like, man, let's get busy. So
Thanks. Yeah, shout out to the
I
whole
appreciate
team.
his evolution.
Nah, shout out to the whole team. Danielle too. She does a lot of the.
Yeah.
Shout out to Deeza. She goes so
yep.
crazy. She's also really just amazing person as well. But yeah, the whole crew. They're all John L as well. John L, their photographer. He's also like he's booked me for his uplifters and things like that.
That's right,
DJ'd a couple of his events, and yeah, they're all just family, honestly. So yeah, shout out to Grand National. Thank you guys. You guys have played a big role in my life and the Wodi's life as well, and also the studio, the Woe Studio, because it's like I feel like that's one of the like first groups that I was like, man, they're credible. They actually can rap. They're actually making like real music that like stands for something that's real. And it was just like it's just crazy to be a part of it. Like just be around here is just amazing.
Yep. And we're coming up on 15 years of right here too.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I just saw that. That blew that made me feel old. Like, I don't know if you guys feel old. That made me feel old. Like,
I was fully DJing when that came out. I was like in the club DJing. So you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. See, I was on the schoolyard.
I was full blown DJing, and it would go from that into ROD.
Oh my God, dude! Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes, dude.
Those songs would just go back to back.
Literally, facts. Literally, I think that song too is coming up 15 years as well. I just saw talking about it.
Those are in the same little pocket.
Literally, yeah, they were in the same pocket for show. Man, that ROD song, man, my dad used to slap the shit at that song at the house on the speakers loud, because that's around the time, like, not to get deep, my parents divorced, and he, you know what I mean? I can't stand you. And he'd be like, we weren't like cursing in the house. We're a very Christian household. So he'd be like, bitch, I can't stand you. like, no, your mother's not a bitch. I promise.
Cool. Cool.
I'm talking about someone else. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, it's just cool being able to be a part of this melting pot. I'm from Fairfield, California. I moved out here around 3 years ago and I was out here constantly when I was going to Expression. So I've always had love for the Bay just because my mom would take me to Exploratorium. Back in the day, they would do free Wednesdays and stuff in the city, and that was like the highlight of my weeks when I was a kid, going to the San Francisco Zoo or the Exploratorium or the science sites and arts. Like, so the Bay has always just been a big role in my life. You know what I mean? Especially with listening to E40. My dad was a big hip hop, like old school hip hop head. He still is to this day. Like, he's one of those guys that's like, it gotta be a banger, man. I ain't listening if it's not banging. Like, he still is that guy to this day. And I
Did
mean,
your dad do any music? Did he do anything?
never. I that's the funny thing too. I always want to tell kids too, if you're not in music, it's okay. Like, I don't come from a music background at all. You know what I mean? I had not one, like, I was from a baseball family. We were all athletics.
Sports,
My dad made me play baseball from 5 to 18.
Okay.
Literally, like, put me in leagues and all that. And it wasn't until like after high school and stuff like that I realized, like, you know, it takes time. Like, it takes time to realize like what you're into, and it's okay if you never were into like band or things like that, and you love how music is. Like, I'd say look deeper into it. Like, really push yourself to like find out how things are made, or how you can, you know, become an artist or an engineer or a producer. Like, there's so many routes these days that you could do. Like, you know, people shit on Splice, but Splice is literally one of the best like programs for up and coming producers who don't know how to, you know, don't know keys, don't know how to play keys. Like, literally tells you the key and the BPM.
I'm one of them.
Yeah,
Shout
I mean,
out
it's
Splice.
yeah, I use it too. Like, it's literally a great like foundation starter, because now like I know this is keys in C minor. Now I can look at what keys are in C minor, and literally boom. Now you're literally learning how to play music theory from there. So, you know, like, my bandmates, they're all like music, like them three right there are musical geniuses. Like, they will play you the nastiest chords. Fur is an amazing guitarist and bassist. I mean, so is David, but like, David at his heart is an amazing drummer as well. But like, I still say, like, get into it. If you have any interest in it, anything, I say look into it, because you don't have to be the smartest protege of music to make a rap album. You know what I mean? Like, nowadays, it's anyone can, you know? And I think it is oversaturated in a way, but I still love it, because now you're able to express yourself, because that's the biggest thing for me in music, is expressing yourself, is being able, because in the end, music is therapy. You know, most people treat it just like, oh, I'm just going to make a song. But for me personally, it's therapy. Like, what I'm talking about is literally what I'm going through, and the pains and the feels that I'm going through. I'm putting that on the song, you know? And I feel like that's what it should be for everyone, not just music too. And like, I tell my mom as well, like, find something that you want to do that's like artful. You know, you don't have to make music. Cooking is art. Cooking is the biggest art. You know what I mean?
All day.
Like, you're mixing ingredients to make something that's amazing, which that's music. You're mixing keys and pianos and guitars and drums to make something amazing. Damn. Same painting, you know what I mean? You're putting colors on your palette and putting it onto the board, and it's creating something that no one has made before. So I think like art in itself is one of the best therapy options. If you're afraid to go to a therapist, make some art. Make some art, because it will get out those things that you need, that you're holding in and just not wanting to let go. It will come out through the art 100%. And especially if you're staying true to yourself too. And yeah, I mean, that's like, even like Chromacopia, like this last album I'm wearing, it was one of his most like vulnerable, and I love that. I feel like I'm learning something about someone, you know what I mean, that I've been growing up listening to, and now I'm like hearing these.
Yeah,
exactly.
Still learn more.
And I feel like that's what I want with people who listen to my music as well. Like, they're hearing me go through the stages of life. Like, and especially with me engineering my own music, now you're literally hearing me grow as an engineer as well. Like, you're watching the start of me become, you know, something bigger and better. Damn. And because that's what I did. I watched Tyler become who he is. I watched Gambino watch who he is. I watched ASAP Rocky become who he is. You know, and these guys are doing so many things. Like Gambino, like is the biggest inspiration. Like Atlanta is one of my favorite TV
That's
shows.
a killer. Yeah, man.
And
Easy.
literally like one of the greatest TV shows to me personally, and it's inspired me. Like we now, my band we're making a TV show as well. Like we wanted to make our own like version of SNL and Tiny Desk, where it's like you're getting more music, but you're still getting the skits in between. You know, so
Okay.
Can't wait to see it, man. That
yeah,
sounds
next year we finished 2 seasons already. Well, 1 season. The second season's like getting finished, but next year for sure. Definitely look forward to Wody Setch. It'll be an amazing little thing.
No, that's exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
I really like seeing those sorts of things. It's just taking an idea and making it your own, and then also just being from the Bay.
exactly. Yeah.
It's like this is something that we can claim.
No, literally. No, yeah, that's the funny thing. A lot of these skits are shot here in the Bay, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna see like places that are like, hey, I know that area. That's familiar.
That's tight.
Shoot, I mean, going from that, I mean, we kind of talked about a little bit of everything there. I guess kind of transitioning a little bit, but like what in your music, or well, in the whole process, what's your favorite part? Because since you have your hands in so many aspects of it, I don't know that you have a favorite one, but if you did have to choose.
That's a great question. You know, when it comes to writing songs, I think that's one of my favorite parts, because a lot of the time it's the production is what speaks to me. You know, I'll make the beat or I'll make it with Carter or something. Sometimes even if we've been sitting on it, I'll go back to it. But it's usually whatever just comes to me at that time. You know, and I feel like that's. I've been reading a lot of Rick Rubin and just talking about just how art is just kind of grabbed from nothingness. Like it's just magic where it comes from, because you don't know where it comes from. Like inspiration and things like that, and songs that just come out of the blue and just hit your heart, and you're just like, bleh, and there's a song, you know. And I feel like that's the thing that I love about making music, is just like seeing where it takes me. You know, like a lot of the times if a song, like I'll work on something and then I'm just like, this just doesn't feel true. This does not feel true to myself. So I'll just scrap it and rework it, you know? And I think just that process of writing is definitely one of my favorites. Because in the end, like, I feel like I would love to write for someone someday, you know? I'd love to write a record for a pop artist, you know? So putting it into myself is good practice. You know, it's great practice. And I think that's at the end of the day too, was the biggest thing as well, was putting the time into myself is now being able to put my time into others to be better, you know, because I perfect myself. Now I can perfect others, because if I could do it to me, I could do it to someone else. You know what I mean? So I think that's the biggest thing is writing. I love writing. And, yeah, I think that's my favorite part of the process. That was a good question. I like that. I never really thought of like, what is my favorite process of making a song, you know? But there's definitely, like you said, there's a lot of elements into going into making it. And
Well, especially with what, like, you do a bunch of stuff anyway.
oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing is writing for sure.
Nice. And I guess transitioning directly from there, you did mention that you wanted to kind of talk through the process of producing one of your more recent tracks for Gracie, right?
Oh yeah. I which is crazy as well. Shout out to Gracie. She's from Seattle, Washington. I had found her on TikTok. Just was scrolling and found this young girl's just amazing indie rock music. It was just like blew my mind, like very Mac DeMarco, very Faye Webster-esque. And I would be in her comments like, "Can I mix it? Can I mix it? Can I mix it?" And she was like in that mode of like, oh, this guy's gonna ask me to pay. He's gonna ask me to pay. But me as an engineer, if I really enjoy your art, I'm gonna do it for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just how it is. Like I know if I put this time into you, I know it's gonna come back tenfold. And it's not that I'm expecting it, but I know it will, because you have gave me the building blocks to who you are. You know what I mean? So I think in the end, like with Gracie, it's just really like an honor to be able to just manage an artist. She ended up asking me to manage her, and it'll be my first artist I've ever managed, and it just like it means a lot, you know, because it's just like we put in a lot of time into her music as well, and yeah, it's really cool being able to see an artist grow when I get to watch myself grow as well through it, you know. It's like literally watching myself in a different form, you know. Like being able to help her through it because, you know, I had Carter Boy, I had David, I had Fur to help me through my process. So it's like cool being able to be that for someone else, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing. But yeah, I mean, if possible, yeah, can we pull it up?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can go. How do you need to pull it up?
Oh, I could just play the stems. I was just gonna go through, and I wanted to show you guys just kind of the process it took me to mix her record, because she produced it herself. She recorded herself in Seattle, sent me all the stems from Seattle, and it was a back and forth process. We went through, I believe, 8 mixes. Took us about 8 mixes to get to the final project where it's at right now, which, you know, it's also at 20,000 streams, and she's, you know, getting a lot of great monthly listeners, which I like. It blows me away, like, just to be able to like be a part of that, you know, to be a part of an artist that, you know, like right off of her first 2 releases are just doing so well. Like literally just because she also as well was a TikTok marketer, you know, and I think that's what attested to her streams as well, was just her pushing herself, you know. It's just doing the Russell scheme of just being consistent, of just constantly putting stuff out to where it's gonna have to pull up on someone's feed, and they're gonna be like, all right, I keep seeing this, what is this? Which ended up happening to me. That's how I ended up finding her, you know, because of that consistency that she did, you know.
So you said you want to play something?
Yeah, I was wondering if it'd be possible, you know, we could take a quick pause.
I think so.
Oh, I mean, we could wait. We could always wait and then do it after the performance.
Let's do that.
You know.
Let's do that.
Let's do it at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she is amazing. I'm excited for the world to hear Gracie. She's a ball of light, a joy to be around, and well, not to be around, too, a joy to talk on FaceTime since she's in Seattle. But I'm very excited to see where her career goes, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of the process to be able to make something like this, because it's very different. It's this record too that I'm gonna play is a very different record. It's very indie rock, you know, very boom boom, and it's like one of the first times I've been able to mix something like this, because usually I do a lot of rap and a lot of hip hop. So this is one of the first times I've been able to buckle down and mix an artist that's making, you know, something on my indie side that I love, you know, like my Tame Impala and my Mac DeMarcos.
Flex the other muscles.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm very excited. And then as well too, she was on my last single. She was doing the harmonies in the background of "Don't Give Up." She was, and then on my next single as well, she ended up writing the hook for me. I had sent the next song I'm gonna release is a little bit more like a rock song, and I had sent it to her originally for her to have the beat. She wrote the hook, sent it back to me. She's like, "Do what you want with it," and I was like, "Wait, for real? All right." All right, I'll take it. And then I ended up singing the hook with her, and she just, it just sat on the shelf, because we made this about 3 months ago, and it just sat on the shelf. And, you know, she's been working on a lot of her own stuff. And one day I was just like, you know what? I want this. So I just texted her and I said, hey, you've been sitting on it. Can I take it, please? I like the song. And, you know, that's the thing with this relationship. She wasn't like, there was no hard feelings, no like, no, this is mine. She was like,
boom,
here. She's like, do you want me to add more harmonies? You know, like that's, and that, I feel like that's the best part about collaboration. You know, there's no, I feel like with any situation that we work with artists, there's never been a like, it's always been
open,
easy, you know, like even with Kevin, with the Deuces album, with Monty's and Passwords, there's never been like, no, this is not going to work, because it just flows. It just happens. It works, you know. And yeah, I'm very, very happy to be able to manage an amazing artist. Like, this is definitely a venture that I haven't thought I would be getting into as an engineer, to be managing an artist. But it's definitely like something I'm looking forward to doing, you know?
That's exciting. It sounds, I mean, clearly very different than what you're you're used to.
Yeah, literally.
But I mean, growing pains, and I think it's worth a shot. And it sounds like you guys have a good relationship as well, so that definitely helps it out.
I feel like with any relationship with any of these artists and them, it's like a sibling. Like with Grand Nationals as well, like that, those guys, like it feels like brothers. And same with them and Gracie, it's like it's just talking to a sibling,
That's it.
like, and I feel like that's what's really needed in this industry when you're collaborating, is not just like forcing something that should be. It should just be, it should just flow. Like things shouldn't be like forced into being made. And yeah, I'm happy that I have a group of guys that are like that, and I'm getting just around the right artists that are doing that as well, where they're open to, all right, let me see what your mix ideas are, or what do you think we should do in this part, and yeah, that's I feel like that should be collaboration at the heart of it all. Is the bond.
The Bond, baby.
Yeah.
Word is bond.
James Bond. Yep.
No, and that's always good to hear too, because I mean, we were just speaking with Skino and everyone else we talked to on here, like the Bay Area, we like to be left alone a lot, but sometimes we don't know how to ask for help or collab. It's great to hear that you're in a position where like people are trying to work and people want to work.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have the people I've been around. As well as Collaborate. I've been working a lot with Collaborate as well. I did his last album too, and that's us also. I had ended up going to college with Collaborate, also another small world. And like you guys were talking about being in studios, like that was the big thing. Like he was practicing in Soundwave, and I seen Casey Cope in the room, and I was like, oh, I know that guy. So I went in there, and then seeing Collaborate, I'm like, oh, hey, how you been? And then showed him the studio, and the rest was history.
Next thing you know, boom.
Exactly. So it's like you guys were talking about earlier, of just having that space of like artists being around. Like I shot my shot. Overcast was in Soundwave one time, and I said, hey, come check out the spade. He ended up coming through, and things didn't work out, which I could never be mad about. But the point is, I was able to meet him and put an impression out. That's the biggest thing as well in this industry as an engineer, and not only as an artist, is impressionism. Is being able to come into a room, like I said, and being a ball of energy, or being a light, not being like, oh God, this guy's around. Oh my God, Like I feel like that's anytime I'm in any studio, like I don't want to be the center of attention, but I want you to have your shine. I want you to be able to, be lifted up, and that's. I feel like that's the biggest thing in studios as well, is just like energies. Like I'm all for having people in the room, but what are they doing? You know what I mean? Yeah. Are they paying attention to what you're making?
Are they just on their phone?
Are they on their phone? Are they giving you the energy?
Yeah.
Maybe maybe they're giving their energy in other ways, but in the end, what are they doing here? Like what's their purpose?
Somebody could just be sitting in the studio not doing anything, but they're still giving energy though.
Exactly. No, 100%.
They're just vibing out. You're like, okay, that's all you need to push something over the top. So true.
Yeah. Man, I was gonna. There's a funny story. The other day, Carter had a client in, and I was just kind of just in the room chilling at the time, and he just came in. He's like, "You good, bro? You going through a breakup? What's going on with you, man?" I'm like, bro, I'm cool, bro. I'm cool, bro. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm just going through my morning routines right now, right? Like, it's cool. He's like, all right, man. Just vibe out, bro. Just let me know, man. Just let me know. I'm like, do you want me to like get on my feet and start like, dancing? Like, is that what you need from me? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Sometimes people need different vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you guys. He brought up the good fact of studio psychology. I took a psychology class in college, and it definitely plays a big role in myself and in the studio too. So I feel like if anyone out there listening, your facial features matter. They do. Trust me. It's it changes a lot of things. You don't think it does, but artists, when you want to be yourself, anything in the room will make you feel like you're not the best, unless you're like an overly confident person like me.
Don't give a fuck.
I have those issues as well too. I'll see someone and I'm like, oh fuck, that was a fire. Redo it, retake. Let me get another take. So it definitely plays a big role. So I feel like if you are going to your friend's studio and you're like, I just want to sit in the room, really be mindful of what's being created and being in the moment.
Yeah,
You know?
man. Yeah. Or don't come through.
Or don't come through. Just
Don't come
you know,
through.
relax
Come
at
through
home.
later.
We'll send you the song when we're done.
Yeah, come through later. We'll be done.
Yeah, exactly. When the song's done, exactly. We turn up when the song's done, exactly.
Like, that's what you're here for. I mean,
Facts.
we can just send you the file.
Yeah.
Well, I've kind of run out of everything I've gone through. Was there anything in particular that you wanted to shout out, to mention? I know you got some more music coming up soon.
Yeah, there's a couple things. First, on the 18th of this month, we have the Wodie's next single with Grand National. It's a little bit of a rock and trap vibe. As well, at the end of the month, we will be dropping our next mixtape, Wodie Tape Volume 2. Volume 1 is out now if you want to go check that out as well. And as far as me and my solo stuff, I have a song probably coming out at the end of the month called Detour. Now that I got the Gracie vocals in, she finally sent them, the stems. So thank you, Gracie. It took forever, but thank you. But yeah, and then as far as next year, it's going to be a big year. We have Wodie Setch. I've been working on like another concept album. My name Benet. My real name is not Benet. My real name is Michael. Benet comes from the court I grew up on as a kid. And it's where I get all my inspiration, and who I am today is from Benet Court. And looking into it, I found out Benet is a poet, Stephen Benet, but as white America, we put Benet. We didn't put the squiggly line.
Benet, yeah.
Yeah. But he wrote a short story called Beyond the Waters of Babylon, and it's basically it's set in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's basically like my story at its finest. It's like this kid who's raised in this Christian tribe, and there's like the cities are in ruins, and the dad is like, don't go out into the city, it's on fire, the gods have taken it over, it's in flames. And he ends up taking this journey and going to the city to only find out that the gods are just humans. It's just me and you. And I feel like that's the biggest thing I want to put in this project, is showing that we all are gods. We all can be a Kanye. We all can be a Frank Ocean. If you really put the time and practice and effort into wanting to do it, you can be just as big, you know? Damn. And so yeah, I definitely want you guys to look forward to that. It's going to be very conceptual, skits, a story, a lot of movement. But yeah, definitely not anytime soon. So don't be expecting it like top of the year. I got like 3 songs done from it, but it's definitely something you should look forward to. I'm very excited to put the time in and learning from Fur as well, watching him create his concept album and just like applying that to myself, you know. And I feel like that's the biggest thing too, is don't stop learning. Please don't stop learning, especially if you want to be an artist. There's so much to learn about. I still learn every day. In everything I do, I am learning like constantly, and I feel like it should never stop until you are 70, and even then you could still be learning about, you know, how to whittle a spoon or make a birdhouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, real
like,
deal. That's the realest.
But yeah, I say pursue it. If you're into any of this, like what I'm doing, I say do it, please. We need more people. We need art to free ourselves and to free others, because people, when they listen to this music, they themselves are now feeling like, damn, I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone in this world feeling this way, you know? And that's, I feel like that's what a lot of my music that I'm trying to push is showing that, like, you're not alone in this world feeling this way. Like, I get in love sometimes and get a little, you know, I get a little pushy, you know what I mean? I'm a little too loving. I'm a very emotional guy, you know, and that's okay, you know? It's okay to be that. And I want people to understand that through my art, and I want them to start expressing that through their art as well. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for having me. Like, it really means a lot. Let me literally just talk nonstop right now. I'm a talker. I'm sorry. I get really into talking. I really appreciate you guys. And I gotta say, you as well. You put Lettermans and Loafers on Bar for Bar, and that blew my mind. That was like one of the first like write-ups I've ever had, and I was like, I cried like to myself that day. I was like, I'm on a post. I'm on a Bar for Bar podcast post.
It's hard.
So it means a lot. So thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you guys.
course.
You guys are amazing hosts.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. It's been great learning about you.
Thank you.